Hello again guys and welcome to another video. So this month we're going to be catching up on not 1 but 2 months of gaming. As I was a little bit slack last month as I picked up the Switch, I've been playing a lot of games this month. So the first game I want to talk about this time is Paper Mario the Origami King for the Nintendo Switch. So this is actually the first Paper Mario game I have played in the long-running saga, and straight away I was absolutely blown away by the graphics on this one. It's got a really cool art style, everything looks like it's made of paper or origami. It really makes you draw into the world a lot more. So in the storyline department, it's a very traditional Mario game. Princess Peach has been kidnapped during the Origami Festival, and as Mario you are on your way to save her with the help of Luigi at the start of the game. Not giving too much away, but yeah, this is a really cool game, a really interesting start. So it's quite traditional in its gameplay. It's kind of an open world and you're slowly trying to uncover the mystery of the Origami King. So it's free roam, you can kind of wander around, but where this game really shines is in its battle system, which is totally different than anything I've seen before in a Mario game. Rather than your traditional kind of Mario game where you just simply jump on your enemies, in this one they are little tiny puzzle games where you have to line the enemies up and equip the right weapon to attack them at the right time. So it's pretty complex to begin with, but you quite quickly get the hang of it. Kind of realise you just have to line up the enemies and use the right weapons to jump on top of them. Some of the puzzles though did get me pretty confused, and some of the bosses as well are super complicated. But we'll come back to the bosses later on in the game. But yeah, it's hard to master. Once you've got it, it's a really cool battle system. One of the main things I think that really shines about this game is it is kind of a traditional Mario game, but it has the difference of everything being paper or origami. So you see all the kind of classic enemies of Mario, but they've all been turned into origami by the Origami Prince. And there's some really cool little puzzles in the game as well. So the more stars you can find by solving the puzzles, obviously more you power Mario up and make the story a little bit easier for yourself along the way. So on to the bosses. Some of these can be a real challenge, especially one of these ones. This is the Earth Elemental. This is one of the first main bosses you fight in the game, and it really does change things up. It gets a lot more complicated. You basically have to kind of go along a board game to get to actually hit the enemy. Being the hardest part as it will attack you along the way, but this is definitely a really cool part of the game. I'm a few bosses in now, but I just want to show you one of these early ones to give you an idea. The thing about defeating these bosses is the fact you get to take their powers after you win the battle. So with the Earth Elemental you can then raise the level of the Earth to get up to platforms you would have been able to reach before. Final thing I want to add about this game is one of the best parts of it is its sense of humour. It is a really zany game from start to finish. It really doesn't take itself very serious and it is very strange at points. Definitely one checking out if you got a Switch. The next game I've been playing is South Park The Fractured But Whole. So if you know South Park, you know there is going to be some super offensive stuff in this game. So definitely not one if you're easily offended. But if you enjoy South Park or this kind of game, it is a really fun game. It has a very, very dark sense of humour though, just to warn you. So it's definitely worth checking out. It's kind of an RPG with turn-based combat. It's the follow-up to the last game, A Stick of Truth, which also came out on the Xbox One, and it is a really, really good game. So this game takes place straight after the events of South Park The Stick of Truth. So if you haven't played that game, I'd recommend playing it before this one. So as I said, all the combat is turn-based. It kind of works on a board where you can move and do moves from there. It's got quite a nice little tutorial and it shows you how to start everything. This is still when they're playing Lord of the Rings style. So later on the game does turn more into a comic book one. Kind of imagine Marvel versus DC, but in the world of South Park. So the combat is really good in this. It's pretty tactical. Some of the attacks are pretty hilarious. But yeah, it's one of those games, again, it's quite easy to get into, but quite hard to master the combat. So this being a superhero game, you obviously have to have a backstory, and fair warning, the backstory in this is pretty damn offensive, but it also shows how you get your really strong powers, such as your super moves, which are kind of built up over time after you fill up a meter to do them. There's loads of them throughout the game and they just get more and more over the top the further you go. You slowly build up to have a massive arsenal of moves, if you excuse the pun.
And so you beat them. All seemed to be okay. But then you finally reached your parents' door. And what you saw when you opened that door changed your life forever.
Now, outside of combat, you're free to explore the whole of South Park. It's a really large map. It's all open plan, and you can kind of go around finding items, finding loot, solving puzzles, and meeting the other characters from South Park. If you're a fan of South Park, this has so many small references. It is amazing. There is so much depth to this game. You can really tell it's a labour of love for the people who made it. You just tell they love the show.
Good to go. Find more stations to expand your network. And when you get into trouble, Fast Pass will be there. Bye.
As you get further into the game, you slowly add more people into your party. You can mix and match all your favourite characters for the show, and each of them have their own special moves. Some of them are absolutely fantastic, if not just absolutely ridiculous, but really add to the drama of the game. All of these different moves mean you can attack enemies in a various ways. You can use fire, ice, electric, all kinds of damage. It's basically knowing what each enemy is weak to and exploiting those weaknesses. Another cool thing about the game is how you can make your character exactly how you want. So I started off, mine was kind of a fire-based character, and I think by the end it changed a couple of times over. This is because you can wear different outfits, equip different moves, and you slowly get more mutations throughout the game. So by the end of the game, you can have moves from a various selection of different superhero classes to really make your character your own.
I'm going to upgrade you to somebody's sidekick or something. Congratulations. I just maybe wanted to talk about your superhero character a little bit. Your character sucks, to be honest, and I think I'm going to let you dual class. Let's pick another ability to add. So what kind of skill set are you looking to add to your repertoire? Cyborg.
Being a massive fan of South Park, I have totally enjoyed this game so much I've actually bought the DLC whilst it was on sale on the Xbox store recently. I understand this game might not be for everyone. If you're easily offended, definitely steer clear. There is some sex, some violence, and some bad language, and some very bad taste jokes, but if you're a fan of South Park, you know what to expect, and definitely check this one out. So the next game I've been playing this month is again on the Xbox One, and that is Wolfenstein the Old Blood. So this is a prequel as such that takes place just before Wolfenstein the New Order. So that was a game I actually bought on launch on the PlayStation 4 and really enjoyed. I don't really know why it's taken me this long to jump into this game, but I finally decided to give it a go. So once again in this game you are jumping into the boots of BJ Blazkowicz on his mission to end the Nazis' reign of terror. I really do enjoy these kind of alternative history games where you can kind of see what could have happened in those days. But one thing that absolutely blew me away straight away about this game is the graphics. Even on the Xbox One it looks absolutely fantastic and really sets the scene. There's some really cool architecture, really big set pieces, they really draw you into the story, really nice detailed graphics. One of the best things about this game is its atmosphere. It is really tense at the start as you're trying to sneak into a secret Nazi base. The tension is really high here. It's really quite uncomfortable at times, but definitely kind of gives you a feel how it would have been trying to sneak into a base during those occupied times.
So ein komischer Kauz. Die spinnen, die armen Hotdog. Die wird sich wundern, wenn wir an der Macht sind. Weiter. Kreta, bei Fuß.
One of the things you will notice about this game straight away is its combat style. This isn't Call of Duty, there is no regenerating health. You can very rarely use cover, they will find you and hunt you down. This is quite a difficult game. If you've played the recent Doom 2016 remake, you will see what I mean. You kind of have to keep moving, using tactics. But one thing with the Nazis, they can be a little bit stupid in this, and sometimes you can just kind of do, as I'm doing here, luring them from one side to the other, popping out and shooting them. But combat definitely takes some getting used to and is pretty difficult at times, but it is super satisfying and pretty gory if you get a headshot. There is a lot of blood and it is really good fun violence. The only thing I would say is a bit of a problem in this game, it does get quite repetitive. One of the early levels you are sneaking past this bit, past all these super soldiers, and every time you have to come, turn the electricity off, sneak up on them and stealth kill them. This kind of goes on for about 15 minutes too long. You can understand doing it once or twice, but you go through many rooms doing this over and over again. In a game like Wolfenstein, we just want to be all out killing rather than sneaking. I think it's definitely a game which works better when you're on a murder spree rather than trying to sneak around tiptoeing. That is one of the things I can say about this game. As a negative, it does have quite a lot of first-person shooter cliches. As you can see here, there is bits when you're on rails, there is stealth sections, there is a lot of sewers in this game as well. This is a shame they didn't make it a bit more exciting, a bit more varied, but I think it is quite a short game, so hopefully it won't outstay its welcome. But it's on Games Pass now, so give it a go if you like what you see. The final game is one I've been looking forward to playing for ages, and that is Control. This game is from the people who bought you Alan Wake, which if you've played it I'm sure you'll agree is an amazing game. This one kind of reminds me of the X-Files of the Twilight Zone, as you are slowly unraveling a conspiracy that goes very deep. There is some really good twists in this game, and it is a really cool looking game, really artistic, and it is very psychological. It really makes you uneasy playing this game. It's got really cool atmosphere.
You stopped it. You... Thank you. That was... horror.
One of the best things about this game is the story, so I really don't want to spoil too much for you. All you really need to know is you are looking for your brother in this institute called the Old House. And the Old House is the setting for the game, and it is really cool. Basically, it's a building that moves and changes its shape. So you can go through areas and they will change every time you go back through. This is also one of the coolest parts of the game. As you can see, all the papers flying there. Kind of destructibility in this game is really good, especially when you get into the middle of a massive gunfight. There is stuff flying everywhere. I think this works pretty well on the Xbox One. I did have some stuttering problems, so it's definitely one to check out if you've got the new Xbox. I think that will really help it, and I think there is a patch to make it run even better on there. There definitely is an uneasy feeling while you were playing this game, and the combat is also quite difficult in this game. It did take me quite a long while to get used to the combat and the aiming in this, but once you get the hang of it, it is really satisfying. So when you start off, you do just have your basic guns, but later on you get some pretty cool superpowers. Again, I don't want to spoil too much going into this video. The less you know about the game, the better. So if it's something you like the look of, it's definitely worth checking out. Basically, as you are moving around the Old House, you need to capture control points. That's, I think, where they got the name of the game. I'm not really sure. But basically, then you can fast travel your way around. The combat at first definitely is pretty difficult. There is some really good accessibility options. So you can make it as really easy as you like. You can literally make it so you're invincible, have infinite ammo. I did put a little bit of an aim assist on because the aiming I did think was a little bit flaky. And to be honest, I don't think the cover system works amazingly, but definitely it's one of those games that gets easier as you go through and add more powers. This is one of the coolest features of the game, and this is what happens when you capture a control point. It literally makes the house move around you. It is really cool how they've done this and how it opens up different areas for you to explore. This is one of the funnest things about this game, is just seeing how the Old House changes as you progress through the story.
You did it.
As I said earlier in the video, I do not want to spoil any part of the story of this game. It is a very deep and very engaging story, but this game, if nothing else, the combat gets really good after a while. It's also really edge of your seat time because there is not a lot of health. You have to pick it up, and the only way to get more health is from defeating enemies. But if you like the look of this game, it is on Games Pass, so it is well worth checking out. So there we have it, guys. These are the games that I've been playing in the months of March and April 2021. Let me know in the comments below what you have been playing as well. It's always cool to see what people are playing, especially if it's on Games Pass. There's some little hidden gems I've missed. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please remember to follow me on the socials at Instagram at DanTheGamesMan, Facebook at DanTheGamesMan. Remember to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more great content. And as always, keep playing the game.